Good morning. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. I hope everyone is having a great morning and have a great rest of the day as well. Thank you for joining me on the live. I appreciate that so much. And if you are here for Team Replay, thank you, Team Replay. Click the like button, please, if you have not already. If you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe. And I thank you so much for that. Okay, this is actually, we are here for Real Housewives of Miami. This is their season 7, and it is episode 15. It's called the Birthday Blues Cruise. And I think they're calling it that. 1 minute, let me try to get some more light. I think they are calling it that because a bunch of different things happened on the cruise. They were resolving some relationships. But as we know, with this group, there's always something going on amongst all of the ladies. Okay, that might have changed the lighting, not too much. Thank you. So we're still on the ship. Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson, and a great promotional idea. I think he's pretending to be friends with Maddie Saw. I don't know, but it did get the ladies 2 days at sea, which is very short, but they're in Miami, so at least they got on the water. Welcome in, Sharon Gobble. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming into the Real Housewives of Miami review. This is that birthday blues cruise. We're almost coming to the end. I'm anxious for the reunion. They've already shot the reunion. So Maddie Saw and Stephanie meet in her suite. They rehashed things. We found out what happened to they rehashed things. We find out that Stephanie and Maddie Saw have kind of made up a little bit, which is okay. I like when the ladies they mess up and they argue and then they make up, because the show can't go on if people can't film together, and it's just terrible. Now, there's some reasons I can see why people wouldn't work together. That's okay, but if you continue to work on the same show as the Housewives show, then Stephanie and Maddie Saw need to get together. Even though they're going to, I don't mind this feud. Stephanie's going to come at Maddie Saw, and I think it's going to be big. So there was the 80s workout class. That looked so fun on the ship. All of the ladies that went had on their workout gear. We see from Maddie Saw goes from saying that she doesn't exercise at all to pretending that she's going to be the lead instructor. They had those shake weights. A lot of the ladies had never seen them before and didn't know what it was. I remember when they used to be, and it might still be, but I blocked most of those channels. The Home Shopping Network, there is still, there is, because I have to, if I'm clicking by, I've seen it before. The Home Shopping Network, they used to have those shake weight things. And then one time they had something with Suzanne Summers used to sell something that looked questionable too. So they were laughing at the shake weights. If I get on that Brilliant Lady or another Virgin ship, I would love to go to an 80s workout class. It looked like a lot of fun. So we have Confessional Gertie says she came to the United States in 1987. So we get a lot more of Gertie's story, which is a very touching story throughout the time. Yeah, I remember those too, Sharon. Yeah, they sold so many of those. They didn't look like they worked to me. Any kind of little gimmick they would have, they would go right to the Home Shopping Network with it. And you could see on the screen that they would be like, shake weights are $20, or 200 people just bought one, 400 people just bought one. It was kind of exciting. Also, all the ladies came in dressed as like they were from the 80s. Gertie's was funny. She had this 80s wig on. It looked kind of one of the early Whitney Houston specials, the real curly. So the ladies have fun. Oh, also in the 80s, we get to see, did they show a picture of Larsa? They showed some of the other ladies. I'll come back to Larsa. Oh, they asked Larsa who she had a crush on. She had a crush on John Bon Jovi. And the producer talking about he doesn't seem to be your type. Because we know what Larsa's type is. Larsa said, well, back then he was. She should have elaborated. I guess, you can have a type. It changes. I think Larsa likes them tall, young, rich, black. Larsa has her type. Absolutely. So then we get a confessional with Alexia saying that when she was 18, she was in the 80s, she said. In the 80s, she was dating a Coco, not Nestle's Coco, but Coco cowboy in thick of 80s Miami. She said, and she did not know that he was a Coco cowboy. I don't know, Alexia. I'd heard that about Alexia and the cartels and stuff before, allegedly. And in my opinion, Alexia has some stories out there. That's why she's so spoiled. She's the Cuban Barbie, all that cash money. When the men were carrying all that cash money around. So the ladies get, as they're in a little group, they're talking about whether or not, they're talking to Larsa, if Lisa, they can make up, she and Lisa can make up. They advise her, if you're going to do it, you can't bring up every little thing that ever happened. You can't keep living in the past. That's good advice from Alexia and Maddie Saul. And Larsa's just saying, I can do that. I've been ready. I've been ready. Larsa, you have not been ready. You need this little bit of storyline. But she claims, I want to make up with Lisa. I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight. That's what she said, but I always see Larsa starting. But she's saying now that she doesn't want the fight. So this could end well. And then we get drunk. Marisol saying, drop the effing details. Sometimes I don't know if she's dry drunk or she's just pretending or if she thinks it's cute. I don't know what it is. You think she knew? Find her. So next we have Julia, y'all. Why is Julia wearing 6 or 7 little struggle braids? See, any culture can wear braids. We know that we are the ones that originated, perfected, and continue to utilize braids. So yes, it is an African hairstyle. Anybody can wear braids. But Julia and these 5 or 6 little struggle braids really got on my nerves. Julia, that is Miami. You did not go to a braiding place and they put the 6 little braids in your hair now. Did you do it? Julia better have done them braids. Because if those little Haitian brothers have done them braids, I don't like that either. I don't trust nor like Julia. Julia, talk about the babies and Kiki. Kiki is talking about with Summer. These are like a big slash of mini scenes because I've got everything running together. Lord, I wish Julie would just go away. I know if Gertie had handled that differently, and I'm not blaming her. I love my Gertie. She'd handled it differently. We wouldn't be looking at Julia now because she took it in stride. I'll say she was in shock, but just sitting there and letting that go on. And then next thing you know, the lady got you apologizing. Next thing you know, she kissing on you. I hope this is Julia's last season. I'll say that for not only the germ water throw on the cancer survivor, but for the other few times she's tried to attack castmates, allegedly and in my opinion. Gertie told the story on one of the Watch What Happens Live or interview that Julia had to be held back from dumping a bucket of ice water on Maddie Saw when they were on a vacation. Also was picking up a chair to throw at someone at Dr. Nicole's event, but production kept that out of it. Okay, that's a tangent because Julia came up. I'm going to mention Julia and then kind of skip her scene. She really gets under my skin. Very violent. So Kiki is laying on the open deck. She got her legs spread wide open, y'all, talking about she needs to sun herself everywhere. But she said it a different way. So Stephanie is joking. That's a nice pose when she walked up. Kiki, that was kind of ratchet. Now you're getting on Ariana, but then you're doing things that show you have ratchet tendencies. The rest of the crew, somebody from the crew walks up. She has mimosas. Stephanie being Stephanie claims she can, are those fresh squeezed? Because I can only drink fresh squeezed. Mimosas is a good morning drink when you're on vacation, and it is champagne and orange juice. So that's what Stephanie's talking about. Is if they're making a bulk of mimosas, do you think they squeeze the juice to put in them? Stephanie just wants us to be reminded that she is so rich that she has access to a private jet. So that's why we're getting this from Stephanie. Is it fresh squeezed? I can only drink fresh squeezed. We don't see what the staff member says, but she turns around and walks away. Gertie compliments Nautical Stephanie. Nautical Stephanie is supposed to be more zen, more quiet, more chill. So she compliments Nautical Stephanie because I think I'd rather be around Nautical Stephanie too. So the rest of the ladies join the group. They're talking. Adriana is visibly upset. She's still moping around about her age, y'all. I can't believe Adriana is down bad like that about being 59 or 60. And she looks better than a lot of the ones that are younger than her. But she's still upset. So Gertie dances in. She popping her fingers. She looked cute. Everybody looked cute when they came in. But Alexia made a joke. She said, Gertie has rhythm. And Gertie was shaking her Shimmy. I think it was Maddie Saw said, of course. Maddie Saw, there's some black girls that don't have rhythm. So don't say of course. Because I've been watching you, Maddie Saw. Some of these Miami clearer or white or non-melanated Cubans, sometimes they can be a real trip. They're not beating those allegations. The group looks for Lisa and Larsa, and they are joking because Lisa and Larsa, we find out that they're going to have a meeting. Lisa has sent Larsa a note and said, please meet me by the bar. I need to sit down. So Maddie Saw was joking with Stephanie about you got a tracking device on Larsa. Where is she? Stephanie didn't take offense. Nautical Stephanie was real cool. She said, Lisa and she are going to meet at the bar. And then Maddie Saw makes a joke about, oh, I hope that nobody is thrown overboard. And then Maddie Saw made another slick joke talking about Larsa will float. So Larsa hasn't anything done. She hasn't had anything done, Maddie Saw. Why would she float? Are you talking about her lips or her bottom? She said she didn't touch her bottom. She said that's her. She said she get that from her mama or her boobs. What are you talking about? Maddie Saw, she's funny, but she's always real slick. I wonder what Larsa's going to say when she see that she can float. So Lisa and Larsa are sitting together. They both look really pretty. Lisa orders a green drink and a glass of wine. And Larsa said, all that's for you? Lisa said, I'm going to detox with the green drink. And Larsa said, and the wine? So I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know what to make of Lisa. Lisa makes me laugh. So production, what is this? I'm complaining in here. Okay. Oh, I said production flashes all of the times that Larsa was being disrespectful and name calling. So this is the Lisa and Larsa sit down. Remember, Larsa says she's ready. She doesn't want to fight with her friend anymore. She's going to do it. And Alexia and Maddie said, just don't keep going back to everything that happens in the past. But while they're talking, production shows us all these flashes of Larsa talking crazy to Jody, getting kicked out of Lisa's house for calling her out of her name. All the times Larsa kind of went off a little bit. So production shows us that. And then Lisa says, please just leave Jody out of it. Leave Jody out of it. Because we know now that Larsa was the one that texted Jody first and established kind of a comfortably texting relationship. So Lisa tells her, just leave him out of it. She says she can do that. I can do that. I will never speak to your boyfriend, speak about your boyfriend again. I am sorry I ever spoke about your boyfriend. I am never. I don't know why. I'm glad that Larsa's giving it up, but I don't know why it seemed to have come so quickly. She was holding a grudge for a long time. And now, since she and Lisa are sitting down, there was really nothing that the two of them could be mad at each other about. She brought up the paparazzi photo again. That hurt me to my bone that you thought that I did that. Larsa, I think you did that. I think you called the cameras on Marcus because you and he were splitting up and you wanted him to be seen in a bad light. She is a mess. Yeah, that was very ratchet when Kiki did that. Yeah, we're not calling you ratchet, Kiki. We just say sometimes you have these ratchet tendencies because it's an adults only boat. You can sun yourself, but what you were doing was a lot. Had a full V out there talking about, I like to sun myself everywhere. Yes, I don't like when they make judgments like that. So Lisa and Larsa was sitting there talking about the fact that she finally unfollowed Marcus. Larsa did do that on purpose. Larsa's very shrewd, especially when she's sitting with Lisa. Lisa better watch her. So she is saying that she does want them to be friends. This is after bringing up again the same thing that she's been bringing up, and they told them to stop bringing it up. So Lisa is crying, and Larsa's like, don't cry. I don't want you to cry. I don't want you to cry. Now, she's been calling Lisa everything but a child of God since the beginning of the season. Remember how she treated her in Milan? When Lisa had her runway moment, he had Larsa with her big phone and light taking a selfie. Larsa did a lot of mean things to Lisa. I'm glad Lisa is willing to forgive her, but I think Larsa needed a bigger apology, even though she thought Lisa needed the bigger apology. She said, you know, I love you. I love your kids. You love my kids. I don't want you to cry. So they made up. And she thanked her for unfollowing Marcus. Lisa said, let me go back in here and refollow you, because when I unfollow him, I unfollow you too. And Larsa said, you're so petty. You're so petty. So they are making a point to be friends again. I think this is okay. I don't want to see them turning on each other again. Lisa really didn't do anything to Larsa. Excuse me. So they come in as a group, tell the ladies that they made up. Kiki suggests that, oh, now the next move, Kiki, you too thirsty. You're doing too much. Now the next move, they just announced they made up. Next, we need Alexia and Stephanie to talk. They can make up. That's Kiki. So Kiki is saying that loudly for everyone. She said, everybody, for everyone that makes up, we take off one article of clothing. I'll take off one article of clothing. Everyone that makes up. And Maddie saw y'all. She said, I'm sick of seeing your breasts. Kiki said, oh, my breasts are really pretty. And she said, yeah, they are, but I'm sick of looking at them. Maddie saw, were you joking? Because you know what? Kiki can be so light and free and non-ratchet or whatever, and that's okay, but not everyone is okay with you flashing them every 2 minutes either. So I had to laugh when Maddie Saw said that. I was kind of surprised, but I was okay with it. I would have liked to see a more of a reaction. Because Kiki does do that in the name of fun, and the ladies joke along with it. We're going to see something later that I called out I didn't like. But yeah, Kiki does a lot. That's non-consent, Kiki. We don't want to look at your naked body all day. She doing way too much. I think she must have came out early. She's always one of the earlier ones. They may have been drinking. I don't know. So the ladies discuss Adriana and her birthday blues. That's why this is named the Birthday Blues Cruise. But I do see what Adriana's going through, because she's somebody that placed a lot of value on youth. And now she feels like she's getting older, and is getting older, which is a blessing, better than the alternative. And she still looks good. She still feels good. She has all her mental faculties. She's very smart. So they said they're going to do something for her birthday blues. What I didn't like was they said whether she likes it or not, because she might be one of those people that if she's not feeling right, she may not want all those people at her birthday. So they said, we're going to do it whether she wants it or not. So the intentions are good, but my ears perked up when I heard that, because boundaries. So the ladies are dressed for dinner. They are joking over drink names. Kiki, of course, is trying to learn how to say Harvey Wallbanger. And production's funny. Every time she says it wrong, and then she finally got it right. And they gave her a green check mark. But leave it to Kiki. She asked why drinks were always named after sex. We didn't get an answer. So Gertie comes in joking. Kiki's wearing this little bodycon for her dinner dress. Gertie comes in joking and pulls up Kiki's dress really quick. I don't like those kind of jokes. I put that down. I said, what if she were commando and she was exposed? Because you could see her panties, or maybe it was an under shapewear or something. But I couldn't believe Gertie came in and did that. I know they joke around a lot, but I was so shocked. Matter of fact, Stephanie was sitting there and she said, did you just lift her dress? No, Maddie Saw said it. Did you just lift her dress? And Gertie said, yeah. She said it was a joke. But you got to be careful with these ladies. One thing may be a joke, and then the next day they have you down to the Andy Cohen's HR. So we next see, for some reason, Julia, who's so cringe, y'all, she's massaging Lars's feet. She said, I massaged the most famous feet in America. She was so happy to be feeling on this woman's feet and just clowning. Julia is so cringe. I wonder what Martina is going to think when she sees that. Larsa Pippen is known for having pretty feet, so much so that she has an OnlyFans page. She told us that at one of the reunions. She has an OnlyFans page, and then feet are making her money. Okay? So Julia is just massaging her feet and massaging her feet. And Laura, I don't care for Larsa. I'm not one to give her advice, but I wouldn't let them keep zooming in on my feet. If you're making money for them, don't let them people get the feet free. I don't like it. So she's like, I massaged the most famous feet in America. And then we get a flashback to Larsa telling us about some man in another state that told her he had a bad day, and she sent him some pictures of her feet. She said he was a correctional officer. Sharon Gabo says, I agree. That was not right to do, because a lot of women don't wear underwear. That's true, especially in a little dress like that. That was one of them little bodycons. Leave nothing to the imagination. It was very short. So, because I was like, and I looked, I said, oh, thank goodness she was wearing underwear. Because knowing Kiki, it could have been anyway. So Larsa is talking about sending feet pics to a correctional officer. Julia was doing way too much. She was enjoying it a little too much to my taste. We get a confessional of Kiki joking about Julia has a lot of talents, and she made kind of a rude motion, but it was kind of how Julia was massaging Lars's feet, like, ugh, ugh. It was so, Julia, you are cringe. Come get her, Martina. I see why Martina don't really want to be on these cameras anymore. Ugh. So confessional Kiki said, oh, Julia has many talents. And next we have Gertie. Gertie is sitting with Adriana. Remember, they all came into the spa. They're branching out, doing different things. Kiki was being silly early, and when she came in, the spa has all these different areas. You might lie on the marble heated table. You might jump in one of those hot pools. They had cold pools, salt room. But when Kiki first came in, and all the ladies were oohing and eyeing, just looking, because remember, Sir Richard Branson is doing this for a promotional for his friend Maddie Saw. So they're showing the whole spa. It looks beautiful, y'all. But Kiki was going through all the areas, doing all this different stuff, and they were like, Kiki, slow down. It's not an obstacle course. So Kiki can be quirky and funny. She doesn't have to always rely on these vagina jokes and all this kind of stuff. It's just crazy. But they are in different areas of the spa. That's why I brought that up. Excuse me for the tangent. Different areas of the spa. And we have Gertie sitting with Adriana. They got their feet in one of the pools. And she's discussing that she is still in therapy. She doesn't even know how she came about taking therapy, but Russ brought it up. We know Russ is quietly in charge, and Gertie does need that. They flash back and show us a scene where Russ and Gertie, they're in with the therapist, talking about the aftermath of her beating cancer. And Russ is saying that there's a lot of trauma underneath that she haven't begun to discover. So we know that Russ wants Gertie to go to therapy, and that Gertie wants to go, but she seems apprehensive. I like that the show's talking about it. So Gertie's discussing therapy, her treatments, and Adriana is encouraging her. She's encouraging her. And Gertie at one point said it's scary to bring up the past, things I've never talked about, or haven't talked about in years. And Adriana encourages her. These are real friends, y'all. These are real friends. Because I see Gertie always laughing over everybody. Come on in, you look good, girl. She did that earlier in the episode. I forgot who specifically she was talking to, but called somebody out and lifted him up. And she doesn't get that we see. I know she and Dr. Nicole are friends, and Dr. Nicole is a medical professional. I believe I heard that they are friends and they check on each other. But we don't see the other ladies checking on Gertie's mental like that. And Adriana, to sit there and talk with her, the spa environment, it was a very calming, sweet scene. So Stephanie and Alexia, they are talking alone. Yes, we're in agreement about Julia. Julia's a creep. They said she almost had to stalk Martina when she first started dating her, because y'all know she used to be Miss Russia or something like that. I didn't know that about Julia. I read that somewhere. But she used to be something else. I know she was in the orbit of the Orange Clown. Had to be Miss Russia during that time. Yeah, that was a good moment between Gertie and Adriana. I loved it. I really did. Okay, what was I just talking about? Oh, Julia being creepy. And she is. Leave it to her. So she was in there. Oh, let me see. I already got on Julia about that. Stephanie and Alexa are talking alone. Stephanie is insisting that they are so much alike. That's why they kind of have a problem. And then she goes back to y'all talking about Spain, talking about Marbella and the plane and all this kind of stuff. So she says again that she thought that Alexia and Marisol would be a safe space. I don't know what she means by that. I know these girls like to come in and do these alliances, but why would you choose these two of all people to have put you under their wing? And you know that they're only about protecting each other. So I don't know why Stephanie thought that, but we see Marisol saying there's no safe space in this group. I'm not a fan of Marisol, but she tells the truth. She told the truth about that. I'm sorry. So confessional, Alexia says that Marisol, she and Marisol are on the same page, and that she thinks about whatever she is thinking. Marisol thinks that too, but even more. We knew that. We knew that. So we find out that Alexia told Stephanie that she's Marisol's mouthpiece. I have found that to be true, because a lot of people are wondering, and I've wondered myself, and I think I've seen little signs how Alexia would be without Marisol being there. Kind of when they split up the Green Eyed Bandits. A lot of people think Alexia would be better and more willing to squash things. She's never gonna be the brightest bulb, but she's gonna come in looking pretty. She's going to have fun, but she kind of targets people and gets into the mean girl thing with Maddie Saw there. So I wonder about that. And then Stephanie goes again into, she said I was bossy. She said I was gonna leave them. And Alexia says, Stephanie, you are bossy. So I wrote, two things can be true. She did threaten to leave anyone that disrespected her on her plane, even arguing, even if they were having an argument, that's disrespect. And they could have been left in Marbella. So Alexia says, that's why I was scared to go on the plane, because you had said that. Even though Stephanie's trying to convince us we never heard that, there's a scene that she said it, and multiple times they show it, that she did say it. So Maddie Saw is having problems with Stephanie having lunch with Adriana. We didn't know that until Alexia mentioned it to Stephanie. Stephanie is smart. She's clicking down everything in her head that she's going to use against Maddie Saw. Remember, she's going to come up and say that if Maddie Saw is pointing at her, she better not miss, because Stephanie don't miss. So we see it brewing. This is interesting, y'all. So she insists that Maddie Saw is the one that had the problem going on the plane. I just went along with her. That's Alexia. Alexia, you throwing your friend under the bus. They were calling y'all twin. You throwing her right up under the bus. Stephanie says again, I want to develop a relationship with all the ladies. I believe that to be true. Going back to Gertie's party when they jumped up and stormed out over words and they didn't during water assault, Stephanie was the one that went out just to let them know, I'm not leaving with you. I got to find out Gertie's side. And Alexia tried to check her. That's kind of when that started. That and Stephanie always making fun of Alexia and Todd. Even though Todd says she don't know him. Alexia saying she don't like to hurt people. She didn't want to hurt her. Because Stephanie told her that really hurt my feelings. Even though she's not acknowledging why they felt like they had to do that. She said, that really hurt my feelings. And it reminds me of my sister, because my sisters don't talk to me. Here we go, lying on the sisters. She said, my sisters don't talk to me. And then Alexia starts crying too. We find out she has a sister that's not talking to her, y'all. That sister risk, that can be very, very deep. I have 3 sisters myself. So yeah, they're crying, y'all. They're in the spa crying. I think the spa has such a good environment. I guess you just let down your guard, because they're having some really nice conversations in here. I really like this. And Alexia tells us that her mother was the glue between her and her sisters. That happens a lot, especially if you pit one against the other, because Alexia says, I just want my sister to love me for me and not be so judgmental. Now, Alexia, if you were dating a cocaine cowboy back in the 80s, I can see why your sister's judging. You putting the whole family at risk. But they're crying to each other, and this is really sweet to see. Stephanie wants to make up with everybody in the group except Maddie Saw, because she's getting ready to get into it with her. And then Stephanie, I have lies that delivery is all she needs to work on. Stephanie keeps saying that. I think she needs to work on more than delivery. She'll say something that's really none of her business, like her feedback on Todd. So they're hugging in the spa. They're still crying. And they said, in the meantime, I can be the sister you don't talk to. You can be the sister I don't talk to. So don't break up, y'all. That was really cute. That was a sweet scene. The ladies are all wearing red, y'all. They have something called Scarlet Night. You know, like on a lot of cruises, they'll do a white night or a white party. Virgin has Scarlet Night. So the ladies are all dressed beautifully in red. Lisa is the first one to arrive at dinner. So this is her second week in a row. Production is teasing her in her confessional. So how did you do this? How did you get there? She says, well, I break down everything that I need to do. And she's giving all the time frames. 30 minutes for my makeup, an hour and a half for my hair. Anyway, it came out to 3 hours. That's a lot, Lisa. So you really can't rush. You just have to start much earlier. Gertie arrives dressed for a costume party. Her red was head to toe with this headdress that she could barely see out of, and like 2 red things sticking up. Gertie, that was avant-garde. I'm never going to say a bad thing about Gertie. Gertie, that was avant-garde, okay? I never saw anything like that before. Somebody at the table said, Gertie, can you see? Because the headdress was like down here. They said, Gertie, can you see? And then we find out it comes off. It's like a hat. So everyone else is dressed beautifully. Gertie, is dressed for a costume party. Kiki asked, when was the last time any of you had gotten laid? I'm like, oh my goodness. Kiki, why are you doing this at dinner? And you're going to sit up and get mad at Adriana because she's saying ratchet. That's what this lady said at dinner. I put that. I don't play these type of games. Yeah, that's different. Bring that when you go back to the house. You can joke like that, but up here at dinner, or together today, if you were together at the pool this morning, they were at the pool. I don't get that. That's crazy. Gertie answers the question, y'all. She said 2 days ago. Go ahead, Gertie. You're a married woman. It's all right. Larsa didn't answer. Y'all can't trick Larsa out of her personal business. I'm sorry. I don't think we heard from anybody else. But I don't know why Kiki asked the question. Oh, Alexia says, I think 2 days as well. Go ahead, Alexia. So Lisa, yeah, booty call, because of course we're talking about Todd. And I heard Gertie, you piped in too. Yeah, that's a booty call. Alexia checked them. She said, it's not a booty call. That's my husband. Now, Alexia, you tell us you're leaving this man every other week. But I guess you're right. He's not a booty call because you're legally married. Sharon said, I couldn't even imagine not talking to my sister. I had a similar situation, but I thought a third party was involved in it. She married someone that I feel like did not like the family. That's tough. But not talking to a sister, that's pretty tough. Those red outfits were gorgeous. Everyone had their own style too. Like I said, my Gertie's was a little avant-garde, but everybody looked beautiful in their red. Red is such a good theme. Most people look really good in red. No, that was not an appropriate conversation for dinner. Kiki's been around enough business people and money not to act like that. That's a house game, Kiki. That's very, very ratchet. And then you want to stay mad at Adriana. So as Alexia is checking on, that's my husband. It's not a booty call if that is my husband. And Lisa just smiles and she said, I apologize. I didn't mean it like that. I'm laughing. I apologize. And Alexia said, yeah, because I got to let you know, I'm sensitive about Todd. Y'all see how quick that little argument or offense was handled? Because it was a small thing. I don't think Lisa meant it. And it's not a booty call, but Alexia, you the one claim you divorcing. So we got a confessional, Julia, I said, looking crazy with, oh, this is the 2 pieces of hair slicked down on the side. She says, our plan to keep Todd away from Alexia is not working. Bravo tries so hard to make this woman happen. We didn't need a confessional there from her. Okay. We know that Alexia is back and forth with Todd. She was rushing back from Spain because of it. So the ladies are in the room. They're getting ready. We see Maddie Sal yelling, Mighty Mouse, we love you. So she has a nickname for Stephanie. It's now Mighty Mouse. Confessional Stephanie says she's still wary of Maddie Sal because she knows Maddie Sal likes to move things behind the scenes. So Adriana Cake comes out. It has a mic on it because Adriana is a singer. That was the earlier scene that I believe I skipped over just quickly. Stephanie and the Shoma group had something going on where, the upcoming Christmas party. It's the Shoma group's Christmas party. Stephanie is in charge. She's letting Adriana come. Adriana's coming with a 10-piece band. Or as Adriana put it, a 10-people band. So that's going to be fun. But while they're at dinner, the cake comes out. Y'all, it has a microphone on it to honor Adriana and her singing career. And Gertie's yelling, what does the cake say? There's a numerical system on the cake. It had like 32 plus 32 equals minus 4 or 5 or something like that. Instead of just saying she's 59, but you don't put the age on a cake. An adult woman's cake, you don't put the age on a cake. So I don't know who did that, but Adriana's not happy about the birthday. She gets a confessional. She says, I appreciate the gesture. She said, I don't know who came up with the cake. I hate the cake. And I didn't like that either. That was not nice. So confessional Lisa even noticed. She said, why are we pouring salt on a flame? And it's not. Production's laughing. Salt on a wound, Lisa. But you're trying. So the ladies start chanting, we need boys, which I was glad. We need boys. They want some male strippers to come over there and dance. I wanted to break that up because I didn't like what Adriana had on her cake, especially knowing that she's sensitive now about her age. We just found that out. I didn't know she was sensitive. So they dance together. They have their fans. They're at the Scarlet party. That party looked fun. So professional Stephanie is yelling, who knew we needed a cruise? She said, I'm glad to get back to regular Stephanie from nautical Stephanie. So they had a nice little 2-day cruise, resolved some issues. We have the mini scenes coming in again. Julia's yelling to the baby Jackson, I need diapers. So one of the babies is still in diapers, y'all. Poor kids. So Lisa is at home with Elle. The son's getting a hair. Logan's getting a haircut. That's a flex, Lisa. Barbershop came to him. He's getting a haircut, and Elle is like sliding and playing in the hair. And Lisa tells her to cut that out because that is gross. Summer's in the car with Kiki. Kiki tries to call her son Shamar. Y'all remember we met Shamar. He actually is away at college now. She's trying to call him. He's not picking up. Summer talking about Shamar somewhere kissing a girl. So I don't know. You know something we don't know, little Summer? Little sister is so nosy. We get Gertie in her therapy session. I'm glad they showed pieces of it. She's telling her counselor what she's going through about being cancer free over a year. The counselor congratulated her. Gertie says she wakes up empowered, but she feels like when she first get up in the morning, it's just her. And she talks about coming to the U.S. as an 11-year-old, I think she was, and didn't speak the language. It was just her and her brother. She was staying with family that she had never met. And she said she just had to be quiet and be good. And y'all, that's why I think we get this jumping in Gertie. People don't like when Gertie talks over people and all this stuff. And I feel like being silenced, like when she was a child, sometimes she might feel like it as an adult. So my notes, it does say that Gertie was saying that the house was like a prison. She starts really crying, and the counselor has her stop and do like a breathing exercise. Excuse me, I don't know why my mouth is so dry. So Gertie says she had to change her name because her name was too difficult. You know those names, they play games with our names. You know that. Too difficult. And they were saying all kind of stuff, other stuff. So she cries to the counselor and she's doing her breathing exercise. She said an icebreaker back then would be like people would just walk up and stop making fun of her name, or what are you wearing? You know how sometimes certain kids, they may not have either access to the same clothes or the money, or they may just not have a style. So Gertie was made fun of. The counselor points out, that it was bullying. And Gertie brings up being isolated and attacked now. And she points out what happened with the girls, the ladies. Production shows us Julia's name calling, because y'all remember before Julia tossed that germ water into Gertie's face while Gertie was seated, she had followed Gertie from the table to the bar, and she was all aggressive and in her face, and she was yelling at her. A couple of times when Gertie moved, Julia followed her. So, and then we saw the reaction after. Kiki wants Gertie to leave with her, even though Gertie's done nothing, and the other ladies blame Gertie. So Gertie's recalling all of that, and how that is that attack, unprovoked attack, just made her feel alone, and it brought her back to her childhood. Yeah, Gertie has been through some stuff. She really has. She's really has been through a lot. So she's talking about her son Liam. He's only 11. I thought he was a mid-teen, and the other one was an older teen. But Gertie has little kids then, y'all. He's only 11. And she says she looks at him and she wonders, how could anybody leave somebody that age? She was 9 or 11. She and her brother, I think, were 9 and 11, one or the other, when they came. So she says she resents her parents and she doesn't know how to get over that. But the counselor says, when you come back, we'll talk about it, which I really liked. Gertie has been through some stuff, Sharon. She really has. I like that they share this side of her. So Frankie is coming. Frankie and Alexia have been invited to dinner with Marisol and Steve. Marisol is lying to the camera that she hadn't had a drink all day. Y'all, Frankie said, Marisol, a little drink, little drink. So Marisol, you drunk in front of Frankie like that? She lied. She said she hadn't had a drink all day. We get a confessional with Marisol. Y'all, I think she was drunk in the confessional. I put Marisol drunkenly slurs something. This is allegedly, and in my opinion, but I don't know what she said. So they sit to dinner. Steve is asking about Peter. Frankie says, my brother, Peter, he's doing great. He's doing great. Alexia lies and said, Peter has no opinion on me being with Todd again. And we get a confessional of Marisol saying Todd's not good for her. Back at the scene, Maddie Saw starts punching Steve in his arm. Steve's saying, ow. Maddie Saw, you're just going to have to let Alexia do what she want to do. That is her husband. Maddie Saw is joking that it won't end well, and she may end up at the bottom of a Miami river. Todd doesn't care that you're insulting him. Todd said he's going to sue y'all. He said, keep messing with him. He's going to sue you. Todd is texting while they were talking. And that's when Maddie Saw made that joke about, there's a listening device. He's going to throw me in the river. So we see Stephanie planning the party. And it's the last run through for the party. This is the Christmas party at the Shomer group. That's when Adriana had her 10 people band or 10-piece band. Adriana's very talented. She used to work, she said, with the band is a lot of people from Miami Sound Machine. She said Gloria Estefan's band. So that was the end of the episode. We're going to get a nice Christmas party. I think Stephanie's going to go all out for it. And then another preview, we see Julia yelling to Adriana, it's too difficult to be a friend. You're no fun anymore. Julia, that's not the definition of friends. Don't tell me you're going to yell this to Adriana. So when Gertie was going through cancer, I guess she wasn't fun to be around anymore either. And that's why you cut her off. Julia is a menace. Sharon, I hope we don't have to see too much more. This episode was a little boring, though. So I'm going to have to give it a 7. I don't really do halves. I don't want to keep. Well, I could do half. 7.5. I'll maybe 7.5. Because they were away at sea. I love when they go away. She was drunk, in my opinion. I'll have to leave it on that because, in my opinion as well, because it stood out. Everybody, this was the review for Real Housewives of Miami Birthday Blues Cruise. Hope that Adriana is able to cheer up with her performance. Yeah, you give it a 7. It was just okay. But thank you, everyone, for stopping by Sandra P's Gen Extra. Please enjoy the rest of your day, week, weekend, and I will see you in the YouTube streets. Please like or subscribe if you are not already. Thank you.